I mean, listen, I think, Caleb, we've got a chance to be – I think right now we're a better football team right now than we were even at the end of the year last year.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I just think we've just had – we had 6 turnovers.
Yeah, that's what Keith said. The turnovers just killed you on
just
Friday.
Killed us. And to be
when you have 6 turnovers and still score 28,
yeah.
That tells you a lot,
And so obviously we gave up 14 on offense.
Yeah.
So, but
what was that linebacker like for them?
He's I've got a future son-in-law that coaches at Georgia, and he'd come up there for a visit, and then the guy from Alabama was by here last spring. Now, Alabama and Georgia are not going to offer him because they just don't think he's got the bulk.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not he's a long kid, which, all those guys like. Now, what Austin told me was that when he was up there visiting them, he feels like he'll decommit from Auburn and go into Texas A&M. That's kind of what the kid was talking a little bit. Cam's a good player, no doubt about it. We've got a big old running back that is getting better and better because he's finally getting in shape. He's about 250 pounds. And I'll be honest with you, at the end of the game the other night, Cam Riley didn't want any of it.
Really?
So, but listen, the kid's long, he can run. He made, 2 of the turnovers. One, we threw a stop route, and he comes out of nowhere and dives and tips it up in the air, and they pick it. And the other one, we're down about 25-yard line and throw a crossing route, and he lays out. And, truth be told, he didn't catch it, but it was one of those things that, looked so good the officials gave it to him.
And you aren't using the DV Sport?
No, I didn't. Terry and I talked about that this summer. Terry didn't use it either, just because there seemed to be so many problems with it. And we both agreed. Matter of fact, it was kind of one of those things. Terry and I both said, look, the 3rd year we'll do it. Maybe they'll have it ironed out. It's kind of like when they first came out with diesel engines in cars.
Yeah.
Nobody was buying them because you knew there were going to be some kinks. I'll be honest with you, that's probably the first time in 2 years I would have wished I had it. Yeah. But I mean.
Well, that's been the big thing is I think there's 20 schools using it.
Yeah.
And there's been like 4 or 5 challenges a week, and so
email.
That's all you're getting.
Yeah, it's it's tough to think that
you're going to have some missed calls in high school football.
I think it was a little bit higher than what most coaches thought it would be. $3,000. You know? I mean, we can afford it, but not everybody 3, 2, and 1A schools that can afford that.
No, I just left Georgiana, and they probably can't afford that.
No. But I guess what you hope is eventually schools that can will get it, and that maybe will drive the cost down a little bit for some of the smaller schools, So, but we'll do it next year, no doubt. But anyway, we're fine. The biggest thing you worry about when you start out like this is the confidence of the kids, and we had a unique situation on Monday where we had a teacher work day, and Kev, I'll be honest with you, I sent them home at 11:30, told them to be dressed and ready to go at 3. And, I didn't even talk to them before practice. They got in, hey, coach, we're meeting. I said, no, go to the field. And we had a really good day. So, that told me a lot about their maturity.
Yeah.
Because it would have been easy. Number one, you lost a heartbreaker, 2 nights ago. You had a half a day of school. Half of them probably went out and ate greasy burgers and stuff like that for lunch. And we had a really good day of football practice,
That's all you can ask for.
That's right.
Because it gets a little bit easier for y'all as the second part of the
schedule. It
does.
I mean, we're really heavily loaded, and of course, I'll try to do a little better job. They were going through a transition down there at T.R. Miller. T.R. Miller's always been a really good game for us at Andalusia, God, as long as I can remember. And when the guy from Florida came up, he didn't want to play, and so that left us in a bind. I know we'll schedule them. I've already talked to Brian a couple of times, and so it's a good, especially open the year with something like that. Probably going to get Charles Henderson. I mean, truth be told, we don't need to be playing. I mean, no offense to Jeff and them, but I'll never go back to Saraland. Yeah. That's the hardest place in the world to get into.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
When I was going down there, my GPS took me everywhere. Yeah. I mean, I was all around these roads.
Well, even when you get to the school, you got to walk, a quarter of a mile.
And to get to the football stadium,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, and it just, it's
nice.
Oh,
all their
really
stuff down there is nice, but it was.
Yeah.
You know, it was. I was driving around just going, man, it's so big and it's so spread out, and it's just.
It is. And again, I talked to Terry. They play some 7-on-7s there, and he said, they don't want to let you drive down there in the summer.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, Terry, we won't be going back. It has nothing to do with them, whipping our tail. Because like I said, before, I think it's great to play a team like that.
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
Oh, when y'all were sitting there 7-7 with them, I was sitting there going, dang.
Yeah.
But they just are probably able to just wear you.
Well, they did. They were 2 or 3 deep in the backfield. Now, obviously, the other 2 weren't as good as the stud, but still, the head guy. We lost 2, boom, within the first 2 series with cramps.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest with you. We finished the whole 4th quarter and part of the 3rd with our 2 JV running backs. Which they did a great job, but there's a reason they're JV running backs,
Q told me y'all have 4 pretty good ones, though.
Yeah.
That y'all feel pretty good about.
Yeah, we're going to be all right. We'll be all right. So.
All right, you ready to do this?
Yeah.
All right. I'm Caleb Brooks with the AHSAA Radio Network. I'm at Andalusia High School. I'm joined by head football coach, Coach Trent Taylor. And Coach, for you, I went to school down here at LBW, and so I've been around here, been around the program. I was down here when you kind of made the move, and everything was going on with you moving over from Strawn to Andalusia. But you've had a long time coaching career as a head coach, and really been around this area for a long time. You were at Strawn for multiple years, and then you come over here and you really carried a lot of the success that you had towards the end of your tenure at Strawn right over here to Andalusia. Last year is the first year that you guys don't reach double-digit wins in a season in your tenure here at Andalusia, and then. Just getting done talking to you, your schedule this year here in the front part, very, very heavy loaded in the front. It's about to get a little bit better, though, for you guys here at the end. But, for you kind of want to go back to your time at Strawn and being there and being from this area. Your decision to leave there, how tough was that for you to leave that program and to leave a place where you had been at for so long and had as much success as you had had?
Well, Caleb, first of all, I'm originally from Andalusia, graduated from Andalusia High School, and so when the opportunity to go to Strawn came open, to be quite honest with you, I wasn't looking to get home. I started my career in Baldwin County, was an assistant at Baby Ned, and then had some opportunities over in Coffee County. And like I said, the job came open, and again, I had played Strawn in junior high football. I knew they had some good athletes coming and just thought it was a good move. And then, you wake up 25 years later and you've still been at the same place.
Yeah.
Strawn's a great community, some great people there. And, it was kind of funny. I went in 90. My wife and I had our first child that June. And so it was just one of those deals, even though there were some opportunities in those 25 years, it was a great, great place for our kids to go to high school. And as I said, there were some other opportunities throughout the year. I was like every other kid at that point. You always dream of going back to your alma mater and coaching. But to be quite honest with you, my roots were so deep at Strawn, I just was pretty much settled there. But this opportunity came along. My youngest child was a senior, and so I told my wife, I said, look, if we're going to do this, now's the time to do it. And Mr. Watson, our superintendent, was just really, really good to me, and I knew some of the things that were going to happen here at Andalusia as far as the stadium renovation, and really wanted to be a part of that, to be able to kind of help spur that along a little bit. Back again, as I said, at your alma mater is just a really, really neat deal. And we were fortunate. We had a group of young men that first year, and I've said it many times, it's really tough on a senior to have to go through a coaching change their senior year. But those guys, they adapted well. Coach Seymour had done a great job here, and so we were able to have some success and got beat in the 3rd round that year. And then things just kind of snowballed from there. Kids just worked extremely hard, and as you said, we didn't reach double-digit wins last year. Basically the same schedule that we're playing this year. With 6A Sarah Land, who's very talented. Obviously, we play UMS the first half of the season. Hillcrest Evergreen. I mean, teams that are synonymous with winning programs, and so. We struggled a little bit last year, but our kids did what they needed to do, and they continued to stay the course. And we were able to make it back down to Mobile and had to play UMS in the semifinals, and so certainly proud of that. And I'll be honest with you. I told the kids Monday, we're at the exact same spot right now we were a year ago.
Yeah.
Now, when you say our season gets a little bit easier, I don't know that I'd want, any of the guys that we got to play to hear that, because, you kind of look at our region. I mean, I don't think there's anybody in 4A football that would, have any argument if I made the statement Region 1's the toughest region in 4A football. So. And, you look just last week, you got, Atmore 2 weeks ago, Escambia County, who beats Hillcrest. This past Friday night, W.S. Neal beats, Escambia County. Yeah. So, everything is just, still have a tough Williamson team to play that has given up very, very few points. Yeah. And so, you kind of expect that. Early in the year, teams are going to be a little sluggish on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to, try to win with defense, and certainly, that's been the case for Williamson. I just hope they don't figure it out offensively, in the next couple of weeks. And then, Andrew does such a great job there at WSNE. From what I understand, they had some kids hurt first of the year, gotten a lot of those guys back, and obviously played very well. The job they're doing down there at Atmore, we watched that film with them against Hillcrest. They've got some explosive athletes, got a tremendous quarterback. And then Stacy Luker always does a great job no matter where he's at. And so Clark County's, just going to get better and better as the year goes on. So, we've got a tough road to hoe. But, I mentioned to you before we ever started, we had a half a day of school on Monday. There's times that as a coach you always worry about. You always worry about practicing on Labor Day because kids are out of school, and that's a tough day of practice. You worry about practicing on picture day because that's always a tough day. And then any day you only have a half a day of school. And so, we turned our guys loose at lunch, let them go get something to eat. Several of the teachers had meetings they had to go to, so we weren't able to start till 3. And to be honest with you, I didn't even get in and try to have a pep rally with our guys before we started. We're coming off a tough loss, and we had a fantastic day of football practice on Monday. So, it helps a little bit. We're playing Opp this week, obviously a rival for Andalusia, and so, but I think that shows a lot of the maturity of our guys that, they can have all those negative things going on, but yet still show up on what has still been an unseasonably hot week, and have some really good days of football practice and be focused on the things that we need to do in order to improve.
And like you mentioned, it's a tough start of the year record-wise, but, y'all have been in some of these games. It was a tough one this last week, the UMS game. You're right there with a chance, and they return a kickoff right after you tie the game, and it's just been, little things.
It has, and listen, you're a team like UMS, they're going to find a way to win. And, what we've got to do is we've got to have the same kind of confidence that they have. Same thing with Hillcrest. We turned the ball over 6 times, but again, that's take nothing away from Hillcrest. Some of those turnovers were forced turnovers. They did what they needed to do in playing the game. But you turn it over 6 times and lose by 5. Listen, it was a disappointing locker room, both in Mobile and then here last Friday night. But the thing that I can say is I think our seniors are doing a great job of keeping this group together. They know that, their ultimate goal is still intact, and I think that they're, making sure that everybody else understands that.
You talked about UMS. Y'all have kind of basically formed a big rivalry with each other. Y'all have been really the two teams in 4A here recently, and obviously Coach Curtis down there is very, very good, and they've just been, so consistent year after year. But, playing against them and having a matchup with them is, multiple times in seasons like you guys have. How much do you feel like that's really helped your group get better and play that type of competition?
Well, first of all, continuity, I think, I don't care at what level. I'm listening to some stuff on TV early in the week, and they talking about the Patriots, in the NFL, for guys to be there 18, 20 years, like their coaching staff has been together. And of course, look what's happening. It doesn't hurt to have Tom Brady as your quarterback. But the point is, Terry has done the same thing, at UMS. He's formed that continuity. He's got a great coaching staff. They do the same things. We were able to, see that at Straughn those last 6-7 years. I think because of the continuity on the coaching staff, the kids knew what to expect each and every day at practice. They knew what spring training was going to be like. And so, while it was great to experience the success that we've been able to experience these first 5 years, I think for Andalusia, hopefully, we can win some football games, and the community will want to keep that continuity. And, we just got a really, really great group. You look at our JV football team, they're winning each and every Monday night. Our middle school and the staff there has done a great job. There's some really, really good talent. So, I'm excited. I'm getting old. I understand that, but I still love doing what I'm doing. And, more than anything, Caleb, I've got a great, great coaching staff. There's 7 guys. Of course, obviously I'm the old man on the staff. I could be most of these guys' dads, but the way things are in coaching now, to have a group of guys at the age that these guys are, and to see how they come to work every day, and the excitement that they bring, and more importantly, just the love that they pour out to these kids. And the kids know that. They know that they're gonna be corrected when they do something wrong, whether it's on the football field or the classroom or whatever the case may be. But they also understand that these guys are doing it out of love, and they tell them that, and you put all that with the fact that they're really, really good coaches, then that helps. And so, we're excited. Obviously, we'd love to change some of those L's to W's, but it is what it is. And it's not just the coaching staff that's excited. I think our guys are excited. Again, we're excited about playing Opp this Friday night. We're excited about playing Williamson, next Friday night, and then so on and so forth as the year goes along. They know what the challenges are now. They know that we've put ourselves in a situation that, really and truly, we need to win out. But they're not looking ahead. They know the most important game, and this is cliche talk, but it's this one this Friday night. They know how fired up Opp will be to play, and they're excited about playing Opp. They really are. So, we'll take it as it comes. And again, I think that these guys are going to make our community proud of them before the year's out.
You mentioned Coach Seymour earlier, and obviously, he was here before you, Coach Causey before him. I got to talk to him at Pelham this past week, and in talking to both those guys, talked to Coach Seymour this summer and Coach Causey last week, they both mentioned this place and how, their time here was one of their most enjoyable times as a head coach. And, now as you've taken over and you were a part of this program as a player and everything, what is it about Andalusia, not just football, but all athletics, that has made athletics here as, successful and consistent? I mean, a couple of years ago, y'all made the semifinals in football, made the Final Four in basketball, and then won it in baseball. I mean, what is it about this place that's caused athletics to be so successful?
Caleb, listen, I don't want to make anybody mad when I say this, but when you look at AL.com, which is the thing that everybody goes to in our state, and as far as sports is concerned, you never see an article about Andalusia. I tell people, we're 2 hours from Mobile, we're an hour and 15 minutes from Dothan, we're an hour and 20 minutes from Montgomery. You'd have to go to Mississippi to find a metropolitan area if you go, west. So, our guys talk about, our coaches do, we're, kind of like, oh brother, how art there? We're a geographical oddity. We don't, even for college recruiters, if you think about it, they have to get off the interstate in Evergreen or Georgiana, drive 30 miles to come here, and then 30 miles back on the interstate. So, we're really not located, close to anything. But I think that kind of helps with the uniqueness of this place. We're celebrating our 100th season of football. Next week, we play our 1,000th football game. You look just down the hill there at the commitment that has been made just on the stadium, a $7 million renovation to the press box, to the field. The building we're in right now, heck, there are probably not 10 schools in the state of Alabama that have an indoor facility, and the ones that do, I would certainly put this in the top 3 or 4.
Oh, yeah.
So number one, just a commitment by the community. And they're like that, not just with athletics, but with education. And we've been very fortunate. We've had some tremendous leaders going back to Oscar Zena, who was superintendent when I was in high school here. Dr. Ed Richardson was a principal at Andalusia High School for a number of years. There are just a lot of people. Clayton Bryant, who again was a guy who was at Andalusia as a basketball coach, went over to Coffee County, came back, and I could go on and on, dropping names, but people who have made a solid commitment. But more than anything, I think the community, is just so excited about, what we have, the uniqueness of Andalusia. And, I was here in high school during, some rough times in the state of Alabama, through, some times of integration and things like that. But, I played for, just a an outstanding man in Donnie Short that said, look, we're Andalusia Bulldogs, and all the things that are going on in our country, we're going to get through it. And that's just kind of the way our community is. I mean, everybody pulls together. We had a young man whose house caught on fire right before the season started, our starting running back. And just the way this community, rallied around that family and, made sure they had everything they needed, made sure they were fed, made sure they were clothed. I mean, it's just a uniqueness. And I know a lot of small towns in the state can say that. But again, I guess we kind of had that stepchild mentality a little bit because we don't get the accolades that we would if we were a little bit closer to Montgomery or Birmingham or even Mobile, So I think it's kind of the chip that people in Andalusia have on their shoulder, but in a positive way.
When you were at Strawn, obviously you guys played against Andalusia,
Right.
and so when you coached against your former school, obviously you love this place, and,
Sure.
and your heart, was always probably here in a way.
Right.
But what was some of the difficulties of having a coach against Andalusia and wanting to beat your former school?
Well, it was kind of funny. Obviously, when I went to Strawn, and I can remember when we started transitioning the schedule, playing people like W.S. Neal, even Elba that Strawn hadn't played, and I remember the principal coming to me and said, "Coach, you're crazy for playing, these kinds of teams." I said, "Well, if we're going to get our program where we want it to be, we've got to play the better programs." And so, then eventually a year or two later, we scheduled Andalusia. And, I'm not proud of the fact. I probably had a lot to do with the hatred that, started to build and exist a little bit. Certainly that was not my intentions, but at the same time, I knew that to have a positive rival, which, at that time, to be quite honest with you, Strawn kind of had a natural rivalry at level, but because of the way Strawn was growing, we were kind of losing that, and then we got off, on the schedule, and so, it was really, really neat to have that. Now, you're right, but at the same time, to be at Strawn, I wanted to beat Andalusia, I mean,
Yeah.
no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but, and that was kind of some of the difficulties in coming here because of, of creating some of that, Now I've got to kind of eat some of those words and come and be the head football coach at Andalusia. But, the thing that I found out real quickly, those folks that really, loved and appreciated Coach Taylor and his wife, and, because we did some, we were able to get some fantastic things done at Strawn, and again, because of the people in that community, we didn't have anybody writing $10 and $20 and $50,000 checks. We had folks that were saying, "Coach, we need a field house. We can build it. Coach, we need a weight room. We can build it." And they did that. And when I say, they said we can build it, I'm talking about Caleb being there at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, putting trusses on the top of a building, or, putting plumbing, or whatever the case may be. And so, those people have a genuine love for their school and their community.
Could you kind of tell that when you got to Strawn, to me it just kind of seemed like the community finally started really buying into the football program, wanting to invest into it? And do you think that seeing some of the success that Andalusia had maybe had something to do with it?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. I think, for those people, they wanted their identity as well. And, we had the opportunity when I was at Strawn to be, somewhat successful in basketball early, and then, weren't as good for a while there. Our baseball was usually pretty good, but, I think, hey, we live in South Alabama. It's how good's your football program? That's what everybody wants to know. And so, we were able to get some kids that really bought in, and got our junior high program headed in the right direction. All those things that any coach will tell you, has got to happen in order for you to be successful. They were, the administration, everybody was willing to do, and then again, we pretty much started with a blank slate as far as facilities were concerned. But again, having those people that said, "Hey, we can do this. We can build a $90,000 building, and we can do it for $4,000 or $5,000 because we can do the work." And those kinds of things. I think at one point the principal out there, before I left, we figured out, we had a 2-story field house, and we had about $10 a square foot in it. It's kind of hard to build anything for $10 a square foot, but that's what we had in that building. So
And you talk about the rivalry and how there were some bad things that maybe have happened, but I can tell you from being from Alex City in a place where they don't really have a rivalry at Benjamin Russell. I mean, they kind of do. Opelika's maybe that team, but there's not a big rivalry. I'm sure the kids appreciated having a rival and a team that you could really get up for year after year, where you are close in communities. You may run into those people and you may have some bragging rights.
Listen, I think there's no doubt it made Strong better and it made Andalusia better. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, the reason that, Auburn has the facilities they have is because of Alabama and vice versa. So, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
You talked about this team and how you're in the same situation as a year ago. You need to get a little bit better, and where do you feel like y'all need to get better at? Where are the areas that you improve in? And if you do improve in those areas, I mean, do you really feel like it gives you a good chance here at the end of the year?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. Listen, we knew going into the season that, we felt like defensively we had a chance to be as good as any year since we've been here. And that certainly has been the case. The thing about it is, people who don't really understand this, well, you turn the ball over 6 times. You got to work on not fumbling or not throwing interceptions. There's no drill out there that hey, we do ball security every day, The last thing in the world is you want kids going, oh, I can't fumble. No, you play football. You run hard, you be aggressive. If we turn the ball over because we're trying to, we're giving extra effort, then guess what? We turn it over. Defense going to make a play, get us the ball back. It's the same thing about, the horse collar rule. If kid's playing hard and he reaches out to make a tackle, he grabs a kid, by the back of the jersey and get a horse collar, I'm never going to get on a kid about that. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're playing hard, I think, what we have realized is that, we're pretty talented at the running back position, and the great thing is not only are we 1, but we're actually 3, possibly even 4 deep at that position. Now, the downside of that is some of those kids are having to play on the defensive side of the ball too. That's one thing we've been very fortunate about the first 4 years here. We didn't have a lot of kids that were having to play on both sides of the ball. We've got more of that going on this year. When's the temperature not going to be 99 at kickoff? I don't know.
We're waiting on it.
Yeah, amen. But, it is going to cool down. But at the same time, listen, we probably spent more time on conditioning this summer than we have in any of the previous years. The truth of the matter is, there's not a thing in the world you can do to get in game shape but play games.
Yep.
And, I see a difference in week 2 from week 1. I saw a difference in week 3 from week 2, and so on and so forth. So, we're going to get there. We don't have the depth we've had in the past, but those guys are going to get there, and when we do, I think we've got a chance to be really good. We, to be quite honest with you, we probably put too much on our quarterback to start the year. We're doing a lot of RPO stuff. I'm sure his head was spinning a little bit out there. And you know what? That is a coaching mistake. Mm-hmm. That was something that, that is strictly my fault. And so, this week we backed off that a little bit. We made things a little simpler. Jake's too talented of an athlete not to be out there having fun and making plays. And so we want to give him the opportunity to do that.
Where do you feel like when you think that Saraland game, and then obviously UMS, and then the next 3 games after that, where do you feel like y'all have gotten better from that Saraland game? Even the last week where you did have 6 turnovers.
Yeah. Listen, I still think the positive things are up front. We came into this season. We were returning 2 starters on the offensive line and a kid who had played a lot. We were playing 2 guys that, to be quite honest with you, had no varsity experience whatsoever. Now, let me tell you, you can have Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, I don't care who you want to put back there and hand the ball off to. If those cats up front, are still feeling their way out and still learning, then, those guys are not going. They're not going to make hay. So, I think when you look from week 1, the Saraland game, to where those guys were last Friday night, it's just unbelievable. The process they've made. Coach Wyndham and the job he does with those guys is just phenomenal, and I think we're starting to see that to the point that I think any success we have from this point forward is going to be directly related to the progress that they continue to make.
How much do you think that the experience that you guys got, from being in this situation a year ago and being able to bounce back and go to a semifinals like you did, how much is that going to help now?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt. I think that's the reason we had such a good day Monday, Caleb. I think those guys, there's no panic. Now, again, like I said earlier, we'd rather be 4-1 or, whatever the case may be, or, heck, 3-2, But we're not. But I'm telling you, there's just, there was disappointment in the locker room, but there wasn't panic. And the biggest thing is I think those guys still trust us. And again, regardless of the level, the team has to trust its leaders. And I think this group of young men, they trust what we're doing. They know what we're trying to achieve, and they're coming to work every day, doing that.
How big is this op game for you guys?
It's big. It's really big. I mean, again, a rivalry. Op is much improved. Coach Hill's done a really good job. Got Coach Dubose back on the staff over on the defensive side. See, you really, really tell, the speed and just the, the excitement they're playing with on that side of the ball. And so, and then having to go there, and their folks are going to turn out. It's Andalusia. They hate Andalusia, and we hate them, and that's what makes it great. But it's really big for us.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me.
Thank you, Cal.
Thank you for letting me come here and visit with you, visit this program, see this beautiful facility that you got, beautiful field out there. I've seen the pictures. Yeah. It's better if you go see it in person.
No doubt.
So,
no doubt.
Good luck to you guys the rest of the year, Coach. Really looking forward to seeing if you guys can turn things around and what you guys are able to do with it.
Thank you so much, Cal.
Yes, sir. All right.
Sorry about that announcement, bud.
Oh, it's all good. No, look.